In the last video, I spoke about setting up your vision, values and goals for your business. Moving forward, let's look at how you yourself and your teams get motivated to achieve success for your business. Understanding and developing motivation is key to improving performance. There's a simple equation that makes it really easy to see just how important a motivated workforce is. That equation is that motivation times your skill equals performance. You could apply this to yourself. If you were 10 out of 10 in your level of knowledge and skills, but only 5 out of 10 in your motivation, you can see that your performance is only at about 50% of its capacity. The first step is to know and understand the level of knowledge and skills of your staff and yourself, and from there you can easily identify training needs. So how can you improve this? I can't emphasize enough that a happier, more motivated team and individuals equals a higher work rate. And a higher work rate ultimately equals more profits. But it's not just about profits, is it? The more successful the company, the better the job security for those working in it, and the more they will feel valued. What we're going to do is to look at how you improve you and your staff's motivation. I know that's only one side of the equation, but in truth, you can quite readily assess how skilled your staff are and of course what their training needs are. So the simple approach is to firstly work out what motivates you, then to improve your own motivation so that you can use this with your own staff and even in your own daily life. So here's the question for you. What do you think motivates you? Different research projects have listed a huge range of things that people say motivates them at work, and they tend to fall into 5 broad categories. Feeling secure in a job, having enough money, enjoying their work, working for a good boss, having good workmates around them. But if we break this down, some of this research tends to relate to a need rather than a motivator. Think back to your school days. How much more effort did we put into the subjects that we liked and were good at compared to those that we just didn't like? I think it's important to say this isn't about pigeonholing you or anyone in your team. We're all different, aren't we? I use a system that identifies 9 different motivating factors that most of us can relate to. Friend, defender and star indicate motivators that are linked to building relationships. Then we move on to the builder, the director and the expert. They all focus on achievement. Then we go to the searcher, spirit and creator. They tend to be motivators that drive growth. Now, within the 3 cluster areas, each motivator has its unique description of how that motivation demonstrates itself in individuals. My top motivator is searcher. So everything I do has to have meaning in its own right, not just to have a monetary value. So when I work with a client and they tell me how things have been good as a result of my input, I become very highly motivated. So I'm in a job where I can work towards supporting my own motivations. And as it happens, before I coached people in the private sector, I had a career as a police officer, working in the public sector, but I was driven by very much the same motivators. These 9 indicators can help us to identify our preferences, what motivates us. And we know it's really important to understand what motivates us because, as we discovered before, motivation times skills equals performance. Now, over the years, there's been a huge amount of research into learning and measuring motivation. But what I've found as a licensed practitioner is that motivational maps are a brilliantly useful tool. Often people find it difficult to identify what motivates them. I recently used motivation maps to help a retiring police colleague to find out what motivated him. Having known him for over 20 years, I was surprised to find that he was motivated by creativity. I asked him, what did he do that was creative? And found that he painted cartoon characters on children's bedroom walls. He very soon began to revise his thoughts about working as a meter and greeter, as he would very quickly become demotivated and therefore not perform well. Sometimes you can just work all this out in your head. You can gain a sense of what motivates you rather than what you need to achieve. So stop and think about what bit of your work really makes you happy, and then ask yourself why that is. Did you produce something that you were particularly pleased with? Have you found that little gem of information that's going to save you time? Did you reach that target that you or someone else had already set? The next critical question is, how can you improve your motivation and that of your team? The simple answer to this is by giving appropriate rewards. Now remember, this isn't just a simple case of giving everyone more money. Now, as we have said, everyone in the team may be different, but there are some general reward strategies that can be identified from each person's individual map that can help make an organisation effective and valued. For example, a team where the defender is the most prominent motivator means that the team as a whole means security. It means that you need to communicate well with that team, set clear goals, define the roles, create and share plans, and then when it comes to rewards, tap into that need for security, add in loyalty schemes, health provisions, provide office furniture and hardware in the work environment that is of quality and is hard wearing. This will promote the reliability motivation of that team. And if we as leaders identify those traits, we can build in performance rewards which perfectly match up with our own needs and, of course, that of the company. Now, team maps can also help management to identify why things may not run as smoothly as it might, due to conflict between members of a team. By identifying team members that work against each other, management can provide strategies to share the issue and for staff to work out compromises. Sometimes it may need a more robust change and management intervention to occur to resolve the issues. In short, it allows management strategies to be effective, thereby developing and improving performance. Using motivational maps across your teams allows you to find the right mix. A recent client took on a potential manager aiming for that person to be a potential partner in the future. When things didn't go to plan, motivational maps identified that the two had opposing top motivators. The partner was a spirit and the manager was a defender. Now, these motivators are polar opposites, and this was the underlying reason why tension was building on both sides. However, armed with this knowledge, I was able to coach the two of them to understand their differences and to set goals in order to see if the two could come to some compromise and work effectively together. If not, the partner will have time now to find another potential partner without either party feeling let down. How much better would this have been if it had been identified at recruitment stage? So to recap, motivation times skills equals performance. There are 9 key motivator traits. We can build a reward strategy which creates highly motivated people and teams. Over a short time, this can improve performance and productivity. making for a much happier workforce and a more profitable company. Now, what I haven't covered is that motivational maps can be a valuable part of the recruitment process. It allows you to identify not only the missing parts of your organisation, but to also recruit the right people into the right roles. Now remember, those goal setting challenges I set in the last video, now how much more effective could they be if they were set with an understanding of what motivates an individual along with what skills may also need developing. Your target is to get everyone in your team as close to 10 out of 10 on both knowledge and skills and motivation, because then you will have 100% performance. Please contact me for more information or go to www.motivationalmaps.com.